Sylvain Filippi, Managing Director of Envision Virgin Racing, and Michael Carcamo, Global Motorsport Director of Nissan e.dams for the team principals. And then in 15 minutes time we'll have the drivers joining us as well. So Roger, we'll start with you as you're in the middle. Welcome to Rome. We're now approaching the halfway point in the season. Antonio is having a very strong year. This is what you've wanted for 5 years in Formula E, I suppose.
Yeah, no, it's a good place to be coming into the European portion of the season. We've certainly made it entertaining, I think, for people getting to this point in the championship, but it's so close. I mean, we went into the race in Sanya, and I think in 5th place, and we came out of it with a 3rd place finish, which elevated us to the top of the championship table. So it's so tight, anything could happen, and we could find a different person in the lead here, the championship coming away from Rome. But I think it shows with Formula E, it just makes it's really exciting. It shows that consistency pays off, and this is where you got to focus. I mean, you know, Antonio had to make that decision in the race in Sanya. Does he go for second? Does he try and go for the win? I think if you saw his face, he came away whilst, yes, he was happy with 3rd place, but he felt that he could have gone better. But he knew that a good finish was better than not finishing at all. So it was a smart drive from him, and you know, the result paid off.
The team are 5th in the standings. Obviously, apart from Marrakesh, what's been holding you back from getting both cars up into the points, the big points regularly?
Yeah, I mean, Alexander's he's really had a run of bad luck, unfortunately. He's had a couple of incidents where the car has not finished. I mean, contact in Sanya, contact in Mexico City, really put him on the back foot. A penalty in Santiago. So it's his rookie year in Formula E, and he's having a little bit of a baptism of fire, I guess. I mean, he's got the pace, and he's shown it in the practice sessions, both cars in Superpole in Sanya. So he's got the pace of Antonio. The team is fully behind him. You know, we love having him in the team, and his contribution from a technical perspective is extremely strong. So I think it's just it's tough. This is a tough championship. There's no training ground for it. And, you know, a number of the guys here have done 50 races or better part of 50 races, and Alexander's on coming into race number 7. So he's got a long way to go to get the experience of those guys, but I'm sure the results will come, and we're excited for him.
Okay, best of luck for the weekend. Sylvain, turning to you, welcome back.
Thank you.
How would you rate Envision Virgin Racing's season so far?
Well, pretty good, obviously. We are still top of the standings, but I'm very aware, as Roger just said, that it's very close. So being in top of the standings when you have many teams separated by 1 or 2 points doesn't mean much. It means that we can all make a lot of difference on the forthcoming races. So yeah, we are doing well. We are doing really well. We're competitive. We have good drivers. The car package is really strong. But now it's a question of, as usual in Formula E, putting it together and being very professional and making sure that you optimize every free practice session, quali and race. And you know, it's the same as normal, but every year it's harder and harder.
Sam won here last year. Does that give you confidence? Is it a circuit that suits you, or is it a totally different playing field this season?
Yeah, there's an effect that's hard to quantify, but there's an effect of some drivers liking tracks more than others and feeling confident where they are, and that's the case for Sam here. So it's a slight psychological advantage and the fact they just feel confident. But it's a very different car this year, very different setup, very different everything. So we cannot really carry away what we did last year here because it's a different car. But we are in a good place. We are in a good. The team is confident, and it's not a disadvantage. Put it that way.
Great. Best of luck for the weekend. And Michael, turning to you. Ollie Rowland was very impressive in Sanya. The pace is there, but again, still that conversation about getting a race win is difficult.
Absolutely. As both gentlemen mentioned already, their seasons, I'd say, would started very strong. In our case, I'd like to say we have a first half and second half, and now after the race in Sanya, we can really step up from that moment and really take the second half with the same kind of positions that we did at the end in Sanya. We struggled ourselves, a lot of teething problems, Again, rookie driver for us, our rookie season. I think we made a lot of progress, and the pace has been there in the pole positions or super poles, but the race finish is elusive. And 6 winners in 6 races, I think, proves that. It speaks to the championship. We have a lot to learn still, but I think now second half of the season is for us really critical to getting back towards the front.
And how do you look at the championship as we approach the halfway point? Are you focused on the team's championship? Do you still think you have a chance of winning it, the drivers' championship, or do you have to take each race as it comes?
No, I think the mindset hasn't changed from the beginning of the season. I mean, we want to be at the top of in the championship. We want to fight for that, and because there's so much variability, we think that there's still a lot of room. Teams that are able to put a string of 2 or 3 races together, I think, will have a big advantage in the next part of the season. So coming into Europe for us is critical, I guess, for everybody. But that's for sure where we're going to focus our attention on.
Cool. Best of luck. Let's open up to questions for the floor for the team principals. If you want to put your hand up and state your name and publication.
Sam Smith from eRacing 365. Question for Michael. Michael, Nissan has been innovative and creative with its Season 5 powertrain using 2 MGUs. Can you give us your precise viewpoint as to how you're addressing the, I suppose, the questioning from other manufacturers about how you're applying those on the racetrack, please?
Sure. As you mentioned, Nissan prides itself on innovation and emotion. That's what this championship is meant to work on. So for us, we were very happy with the process, and we've been following up with any questions and the normal homologation process, which the powertrain has been homologated, and we're happy to continue that process and continue to innovate and provide some excitement for the championship.
Should dual motors be outlawed? Have you got a single motor backup for next season?
I won't discuss any technical developments.
Good effort. Good effort. Any more questions from the... Yeah.
Question for Felipe. Rob Watts, eRacing Magazine. Wrong way around, wasn't it? Sylvain, how would you describe your working relationship with Audi so far this season? Do you feel that you're ahead of where you thought you might be at this stage of your relationship with them? And have you been at all surprised by your level of competitiveness in comparison to the factory team?
So, yes and yes, in summary. So we are very happy with the relationship with Audi, but I'm not surprised about this. It was based on really solid foundations, and I did a lot of homework to make sure we were going with the right manufacturer for the long term on the solid foundations. So this is what's happening, and it's happening totally fine. It's a relatively simple, straightforward customer relationship, but working together quite closely, so it makes sense. In terms of being surprised of our competitiveness, yes and no. At the end of the day, we have the same car as them. So informally, it's all about the talent of your engineering team and your drivers and optimizing the package, and that's something we've always been very good at. So it's back to, we keep saying the same thing. It's just an extremely close championship. And as long as you run a really good team and you provide all the support to your drivers, then there's no reason why you can't get good results. But on the flip side, it doesn't take much to go very, very wrong very quickly. So that's my job, is to make sure that as a team, we keep doing well consistently and make sure that we don't make little mistakes that end up costing a lot.
Okay, next question.
Chris Stevens, Formula Spy. Question for Michael. In only a few races, you guys have caused quite the stir amongst the manufacturers. How does it feel to have all the attention of the other guys and trying to peer in what you guys are doing, given the short amount of time you've been in the series?
I think the situation is the same for all teams. We don't focus so much on the external comments or pressures. We're here to work on racing and to win a championship using our own strengths and our own skills. So I'm not so fazed by that. We have a big job to do. As you can see from the results, it's not like we're leading the championship at the moment, and we're learning. So we're excited about it and focusing on our tasks.
Okay, next question. No, I think we all done? Okay, cool. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Michael Carcamo, Roger Griffiths, and Sylvain Filippi. We'll be getting underway with the drivers' press conference in a couple of minutes' time.
Thank you.
Guys.
Do you want to screenshot it?
As soon as it hits 15, which it does now, we roll with it and then we count the seconds. So, if you're happy with it. Jack, do you want to start pulling them up and we'll go over that, Lucas?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started with the drivers' part of the press conference. We've got Robin Freitz from the Envision Virgin Racing. Yeah, up onto the stage. And we've got Sebastian Buemi as well from Nissan e.dams. We'll have Felipe Massa and Lucas de Grassi as well. Sit anywhere you want, Yeah, Felipe Massa from the Venturi team and Lucas de Grassi will arrive from the Audi Sport Abt Schaeffler team. So we'll start with Robin. Robin, we'll start with you. Are you happy to be back in Europe for these races, and what do you make of the Rome circuit?
Yes, happy to be back here. Well, back is my first time in Rome, but glad that the races are coming in Europe now. Track looks really exciting. It's got a pretty good flow in it, and the last sector is quite tight, so I think this track has pretty much everything. It's good for overtaking, as we have some straights, even though it's quite tight in the turn 9. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. But we will see how it goes in the shakedown and FP1.
The team are leading the team's championship. You've had 3 podiums already. What's missing to get that race win?
Well, it's all very close. You're really fighting for each half that you can find here. So qualifying is not being my best performance so far in the season, and I always try to come back in the race. Always have pretty good race pace. So it makes my life a bit more difficult for myself. I always start from, let's say, P10 or whatever. So yeah, if I could qualifying myself a bit further up, then for sure we'll coming pretty quick.
Cool. Best of luck for the weekend. Sebastian, turning to you. A real mixed season. There's a lot of speed in the car, but the race win hasn't been there yet. How do you feel the season has gone?
Yeah, it's been clearly a bit frustrating when you see the kind of speed we had in the last few races. A few technical issues, and you know how it goes in Formula E. You don't have much time to react to anything. So hopefully this will come to an end, and we will do well here, because I think the car is competitive. When you look at qualifying again in Sanya, we were up there. So although in the race I started from the pit lane and I had strong pace, so I hope that we can translate it into good and strong result this weekend.
And what do you make of the circuit here in Rome?
I think, like Robin said, it's a good track. It's quite long. I think it's the longest of the season, and there is a mix of everything. And I don't think that overtaking is as easy, especially if we don't have to manage the energy so much. just because of the nature of the straights, you know, and the corners that follows. But might rain as well on Saturday, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay, best of luck. Lucas, turning to you. Audi have gone big on the marketing front for this race and the European races. Is this an important race for them and for you?
Well, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. For me, it's a pleasure to be here in Rome again. I have only Italian heritage, so for me, it's like a half home race. So, European round is pretty much the start of a new championship. Everybody is very packed together. For ourselves, very important for Audi as well. Europe is a very important market, so there is a push, has been a good push from Audi since the very beginning, but of course European rounds are very important, and as sporting wise also for us.
Okay, best of luck. Felipe, finally turning to you. You've become a regular point scorer over the last couple of races, goal scorer last night as well. How have you found the progress? What's clicked to mean that you're now scoring points regularly?
Well, good afternoon, everybody. So it's definitely great to be here in Rome. Maybe also kind of my home Grand Prix, you know, by being so close to Italy, Italian family, also Italian mentality, you know, about how living the life, and since I was a kid. So I would say it's great to be here in Rome, especially Rome. I mean, people is really crazy for racing, especially for all the time that I was racing for Ferrari. So it's a great, you know, feeling by being here, and most of the people, they are so close to you, open. He wants to hug you, he wants to kiss you, he wants, you know, it's really a great feeling, you know, to be here in Rome. And I'm really looking forward that I can learn the track on the right way. It's another new circuit for me to learn, so another totally new experience, you know, to trying to get things in the right way, and it will be great to keep scoring points race by race. Hopefully, it will be more points here. So definitely, if we can fight for the podium, maybe for the victory, you know, that we saw all the races and different drivers winning. So it would be fantastic to be to have this opportunity, maybe to win here in Rome. So really looking forward. And but first of all, we need to try to learn a new track, which it looks pretty nice. Uphill, downhill, some jumps, difficult corners to do, quite narrow in some parts, but also quite wide in other parts. So looking forward for that.
Cool. Best of luck for the weekend. Let's open it up to the floor now. If you have a question, and raise your hand and say your name and publication.
Thank you. Toby Bloom, eFormula.de. The attack zone always has been a controversial topic this season so far. Now it's located on the inside of a corner once again. What do you make of the location of the attack zone here in Rome, and how much time do you think drivers will lose by activating attack mode? Thank you.
And who are you asking, Toby?
All of them?
Okay.
That's okay for
you?
We'll
start with Lucas.
Yeah, attack mode has been quite consistent through this the first races. Always 2 times 4 minutes. Always in places which create some difficulty. You lose time to activate it. So here I think you're going to lose between around a second to activate it. So it's not the most difficult one, not the easiest one. It's just average plays. Nothing. My personal opinion, I think they should spice up attack mode a little bit more to be more interesting in places that we can do that.
Any comments from any of you on the attack mode? No?
Maybe it would be good to have more power. I think I think if you can make you lose even more time, as Lucas said, the attack zone, like 2, even 3 seconds, but also giving more power. I mean, I don't know, now we have 225 kilowatts, maybe it goes to 240, you know, 245, 250, depends. I mean, I think you need to have a good study, you know, to understand how to do, but more power will be even more interesting, you know, for overtakings than anything else.
Interesting. Next question.
Rob Watts from E-Racing Magazine. Question for Robin and Lucas. After the previous race, you seem to have a difference of opinion on what happened on track towards the end of the race, and there were some comments exchanged on social media. Have you had a chance to reconsider your position, look at footage, and what are your opinions on that now?
I think we discussed all the things we had internally, so I think all of you guys had fun on Twitter, so now we're here for Rome, and we just move on from here.
Yeah, I think as I said on Twitter, the penalties during this season has been quite up and down, not very consistent, and there was some clear discrepancies in between race by race, and yeah, the incident was one of them.
Thank you, guys. Next question.
Chris Stevens, Formula Spy. On a similar note, we have seen a lot more contact between cars this season, especially using contact to make overtakes happening, movement, under braking. Is that the kind of thing that Formula E needs to nip in the bud quite quickly?
And who was that to?
Sorry, to all four drivers.
Okay.
What have you thought? I think actually depends. Everything that happens on the track, we have a rules. If you push somebody out and you don't have the penalty you're supposed to have, so you think about maybe, not me because I didn't push anybody out, but you think about maybe doing the same even in the next race. So I think it depends for how much, the stewards, they're giving the right penalty. So the penalty is not being correct, right until now, but hopefully maybe it will change, and it will, you know that if you push somebody out, you're gonna pay hard. You will think about if you will keep braking later or pushing the guy out next time. If you know that maybe you're gonna have a drive-through, you know that you're gonna lose your race. That's the only way to put the drivers in the right direction.
Thank you.
And also, just a small compliment, if the more energy efficient the race needs to be, the less tendency of having contacts. So the more flat out you have to go, the more you have to risk to overtake, which has been the case now with time races instead of lap races.
Yeah, just think that with the new race format, we've had like 3 or 4 red flags, which is the only way not to finish the race behind a safety car most of the time, and okay, you can give a strong penalty, for sure. This is an option. Maybe it's the best way to do it. But when you go flat out between those walls and you don't save any energy, you have 2 options. Either you just stay behind and wait for the race to finish, and that's it. And then it's boring and everyone's going to complain. Or you try something, but then, of course, contact may happen. If you give harsh penalty all the time, then nobody tries anything. You stay behind, you wait for the race to end, and that's it. So I think one of the success of Formula E was energy management. I think it made good races, and all of a sudden something that worked well, we walk away from it, so we'll see.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Next question.
Hi, Jack George Mayer, Formula E Zone. An interesting question that came up from the Formula One press conference, where they said the drivers felt like they weren't having an impact driving the car. So I was really interested to feel like, it's a question for all 4, if you feel like driving a Formula E car, you can actually make a difference, because the Formula One drivers seem to feel like they couldn't make a difference.
A difference in what aspect?
In terms of performance, actually moving through the field, they felt like, it's mainly down to the car does it, and the team, whereas they felt like they wanted to have an impact. Do you feel like you can have an impact in the race?
Yeah, if you look 6 different winners in 6 different races, it means that the cars are really close to each other. So you're never going to see that in Formula One, I think, in the next few races. Decades. Yeah.
Do you want to say something?
I agree.
Okay, great. You just looked like you were going to say something. Right, we've got time for another question.
Fabio Seguetta, Tutto Motorsport. A question for all the drivers. Tomorrow is forecasted some rain. Do you think that in last sector that is more tight, more difficult to drive, rain could lead to some crashes, or maybe there won't be any difference?
Robin,
Hang on, say that again.
rain. Where will be the trickiest parts on the circuit if it rains?
It's hard for me to tell because it's my first time on the track, so I can't really say which part is the hardest. Obviously, we have different asphalt patches somewhere, so some points will be grippy and some points will be not. I don't know if there's standing water, if it's heavy rain. I don't think it will be heavy rain anyway. But we also have those white lines on track from normal traffic, so it's not going to be easy. We have experience in Hong Kong driving in the wet, so I think everybody kind of expects what to do. I don't really think that we will see a lot of crashes just by mistakes from drivers itself, because I think we all have really good drivers here in this Formula E group. So.
Okay. Right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you to Felipe Massa, Robin Freit, Sebastian Buemi, and Lucas Di Grassi. The drivers will all be in the media pen to speak to now.